Yeah. Good morning, Rohit, DRK, Vishu, Prakash Bure, Anand Dave, Arkam, Ajim, Subramaniam, Aula. Welcome you all. Jahir Hussain, Bharat Somia, Ranga Satamji, Ramesh Gita. So we'll start in half a minute now. Gaju Dange, live stream, share screen. Kada? How do we- Yeah. Abhishek, Kajawali, Gautam Chaurasia, Dinesh, Mohammad, Kiran, Balavi, welcome you all. So today is one more important topic. Every day I say it's important. I because yeah, I was thinking why I'm covering so many topics, but definitely I feel probably privileged to had the opportunity of working in almost all the areas in civil engineering, or maybe I have chosen to take up this thing. So today I'll be covering this topic of substations and switching stations or switch yards. This is also switch yards is also similar to this structures. So I'll be sharing today the details of these substations, switching stations, and switch yards. Welcome you all. So the overview of the topic is introduction to the topic as usual, and we'll talk about substations, switch yards, and distribution stations, substations in distribution. SCADA. SCADA is a very important thing, like in any other field. For power distribution in cities, particularly smart cities, it is very important. We had the opportunity to work for this SCADA project also for Hyderabad city and power control central buildings. For every substation switchyard, you'll be having these control buildings actually. So what is a substation? This is a picture you keep seeing in almost everywhere. Every city, yeah, I'm sure if you travel 5 kilometers, you will see one substation definitely. So substation is a part of an electrical generation, transmission, and distribution system. So and between the generating station and the consumer electric power supply may flow through several substations. That means if you have 500 kilometers of power transmission, you will have to have step-up substations, to transmit the power. Like in our canals, we have canal drops, that is to increase the flow velocity or maintain the flow velocity. We have these log gates, and the canal drops, they are maintained to maintain the gravity flow uniformly. Discharge in the canals, of course, which I'll cover in command area development. But in power transmission also, you need these switching stations for stepping up the voltage again. So these are the civil structures. You can see there will be columns, beams, and equipment support structures. We design all these structures, which I'll be sharing today with you. Mainly the leveling of the ground and filling it with aggregates. You will see the aggregates always. So a typical diagram, it's not a very good picture, but still I can explain. So you have a generation station here, and there will be a switch yard adjoining the generation station. In fact, we had the opportunity to work for VTPS, from Vijayawada. The beauty is we supply coal from Singareni and Ramagundam to Vijayawada, and Vijayawada generates power and supplies power back to Hyderabad. So VTPS stage 4 and 5 switch yards we have designed. I had the opportunity to design. And this is the transmission. Again, we have taken class on transmission tower design. And this is a switching station again. So there will be step down or step up depending on the need. So 400 kV to 220, and then 220 to 33, 33 to 11 kV. This is final distribution, So this is the switching station, it is called. And this is the substation, it is called. And so this is the network of power, how you get last power into our building. This is how we get, you can see in the normal residential building, we get 230, 400 volts finally. But you have in between 33 kV line, 11 kV line, or HT lines they call. And then this is the 130 kV line probably, or 33 kV line. So this is a network of power. So we should know, being civil engineers, we deal with all this. We deal with power generation, we deal with switch yard, we deal with transmission towers, we deal with switching station, and then substation and distribution network. We even design these poles for power. You see these poles in every street. If you have a habitation, you have the electric poles. The layouts that we do also, we design these poles. In fact, poles also required. I had the opportunity to be a consultant to government of Andhra Pradesh in year 2000, where we have reviewed the reliability of entire transmission distribution network of Andhra Pradesh, a combined state then, 22 districts. And we have reviewed the design criteria, construction practices, and quality control and quality assurance for the entire state of Andhra Pradesh, transmission and so step down is like when you have to transmit a huge amount of power, let us say 1000 megawatts, you will transmit in 765 kVA. But ultimately you cannot step down from 765 to 33 or 11 kV. So we have to step down from 765 to 400 or 220, and then 220 to 33, like that. So we will have different substations, which that is step down. Step up is when you are transmitting the power for long distances, you have to step up the voltage to, again, there will be voltage drop, due to the losses and all. So we have to again step up to maintain the power transmission without interruption with the same magnitude. So this is another picture, say better picture. So this is a power generation station, you can see, and this is the transformer. Power is converted into AC, and then from AC, AC is used because it is easy to step up and step down. That is the alternating. Otherwise, if it is very long distances, as I mentioned, we even transmit direct current, DC, HVDC it is called. So we transmit the power, again, step up here, you can see. This is the step up transformer. Here also step up from 220 to 500. And then we step up here, and again we step down here, and then we distribute the power finally to the house here. This is how it is. Finally, what we supply to a house or building is 430 volts, 220 volts, or 11 kV maximum. So apartments, if you have, so we'll supply 11 kV to apartments, and much bigger apartments we may use 33 kV, depending on the total connected load required. Normally, we should all know as civil engineers, whether it is an apartment or a house. So for a house, like a 3-bedroom house, you require 5 kilowatts. And for a house of 2-bedroom, you require 3 kilowatts. So this is the power requirement, and we calculate depending on number of houses. If you have 1000 houses, you need 5 megawatts, 5 kilowatts into 1000, and then you take the diversity factor. This is the minimum thing. So if you need 5 megawatts, you can distribute with 11 kV also. So like or 33 kV you require. So depending on, so the transformers, you must be aware, we have 500 kVA transformer and we have 163 kVA transformer for 20 apartments and all. We use 63 kVA transformer. So transformer is to maintain the stability of the power, you know. So this is a substation equipment structures, a typical 3D view of a substation you can see here. So we have a gas insulated substations. Normally in the buildings we use this gas insulated substation, and we have power transformers in the substation you can see here, and we have a current transformer and potential transformer. We have isolator or disconnector structures, and we have circuit breakers. You know, these are all the equipments required in the and we have dry type transformers here, and we have insulators. Insulators are to maintain the power electrical clearance, you know, between the structures and this one. And we have surge arrestor. As we get the incoming power, there should not be any surge. And over and above all this, we'll have earthing system or shield wires. Because it's all power station, normally you have this tower. Any structure which is above the normal surrounding structures, you must have this what you call a shield wire or shielding and earthing of the lightning arresters. So this is a typical view of substation equipment structures. This is the SCADA. You must be knowing what is SCADA for power substations and distributions. For example, Hyderabad city has got 100 substations. There will be so many incoming feeders, 400 kV lines coming to Hyderabad. Like we have 9 highways for Hyderabad, we have 9 transmissions, maybe 20 transmissions, and we have 100 substations in the city of Hyderabad. So we have multiple feeders, and we need, Hyderabad requires every day on an average 3,000 megawatts of power. So 3,000 megawatts, how do you manage? You have so many substations. What they do is they connect all these substations to the central here, the SCADA master you can see. These are the external control points. I'll show you physically. And so there will be incoming power consumption. There will be a lot of fluctuations in the power consumption and the power transmission or receiving of the power. So they balance all that sitting in a central control room. And so this is the SCADA network again. So they maintain, this is the signaling through microwave they use or optic fiber. And then they will control, this is a remote substation here, 1, 2, and this is the 1. And then open control SCADA station. And this is the enterprise outside the world. Anybody can monitor this data through cloud also. So this is the typical SCADA network of power distribution network for cities. Many cities you should have this SCADA. So this is a station tower. You can see this is a substation, and there is a tower here. In every substation you will see this is a communication tower, you know. There will be signaling connecting to the central. So like that 100 towers we have designed, communication towers. And this is the central tower. So you will have the central tower always taller, connecting to all the substations, because you need the line of sight for this microwave. So this is a 80-meter tall tower, which we have designed in Vidyut Sauda, behind Vidyut Sauda in Hyderabad city. So this is a control room of SCADA. This is how people monitor and control the incoming and outgoing and distribute. So you have, in fact, I have experienced in Hyderabad city, after installation of this SCADA, we have much better power supply system control. We have stable voltage drops and all are controlled, and then we have the more reliable power, you know, the shutdowns have come down, and better managed power through this SCADA. So now power supply system. This is what normally we have a 400 by 220 kV substation, 220 kV by 132 kV substation, 132 kV by 33 kV substation, and 33 by 11, 33 by 430. Normally this 33 by 430 you see in the colony level or apartment level. You get the 33 kV supply and you step down to 433, 0.433 kV or 433 volts. This is the normal substations that we have. Supervisory control and data acquisition system, yeah. And next is the classification of substations. We have transmission substations, distribution substations, converter substations, and switching substations. And we have a classification by insulation, gas insulated substation and normal substations, and a classification by structure. That is the type of structures. We have pipe structures, we have concrete structure, we have steel. Normally steel is used because of its adaptability and faster construction. So the switchyard consists of the bus, breakers and switches, because mainly when the power is generated, you will supply, transmit to different locations. So we have a main bus bar, and from the main bus bar there will be takeoffs from the switchyard, and there will be power breakdown, breaker or switch off, switch on. So like that, and then whereas when you add step up or step down transformers, with or without LTCs, load tap charge changer, it is called the substation. So this is the definition of substation and difference between substation and switchyard. So this is how a switchyard looks, the cross section. You know, you have the primary power lines, we have the ground wire. This is called the ground wire in the top. This is the ground wire, and we have overhead lines. This is the overhead line, and we have the security fence out all around the substation always, and we have the secondary power lines. That means again you take the main power supply, step down and supply to secondary. This is the secondary power line, and we have control building in every substation. Now you can see transformer for measurement of electrical voltage, and disconnect switch B. Here you can see disconnect switch. Circuit breaker is here, and D. This is the current transformer, and then we have a lightning arrestor that is connected to the earthing, and then we have a main transformer. So this is the main transformer. You know, this is the main transformer. So this is a typical cross section of a substation. So incoming power to secondary power line, we have all this to manage the power supply and distribution. So this is the photograph of a typical substation thing. You have this power control building, we have this power transformer, and we have this potential transformer, incoming supply towers. This is the incoming supply, and we have potential transformer, we have current transformer, and circuit breakers. These are the circuit breakers. So this is the typical network of the substation. So, and this is the current and power transformers in a substation photograph. And this is how the substation control room looks. You have these panels, control panels, and you have the cable ducts, underground cable duct. So they will connect the all the incoming faders and all. So you will switch control. You can see the network diagram here on this. So this is how a control room looks, and we designed this control room, and very important these cable ducts. So this is the cable trench, you know, the below, this is a slab, and below that we have this cable trench, and all the cables are laid in different layers here. You can see the power cables. And this is the outdoor cable trench. You can, in outdoor also, because we have to control the switch and all, so there will be a cable trench. So we used to design this, yeah, why I chose to explain this is Tamil Selvan is here. in the Facebook page, Facebook Live, and he can vouch for me. He was my colleague when I was first designing a switchyard and substation. I mean, I was designing without knowing all this. Nobody has taught me. But cable trench means cable trench. I used to design. Building means building, without knowing what is its layout, what is its purpose. So that's why I chose to explain this, because at least anybody who comes across to design this kind of structures, he should have the complete idea of what it is. You know, what is a cable trench, what is a control room, what is all these structures. But I have designed so many structures, probably I have never visited the site. So it's very important for civil engineers to visit the site. So I'm explaining this concept for everyone, so that you generate interest. You know, all these things have to be designed, and all these structures design is controlled by wind. Imagine the wind drag coefficients. How do you calculate the drag coefficients for these structures? That is the biggest challenge, actually. Yeah, substation, we keep the coarse aggregate because we don't want the electrical charge to be going to the ground. That's why we keep that. Good question, Karthik. And so here you can see, if you have a solid floor here, yeah, it will have the conduction, electrical conduction. So that's why we use this aggregates, you know. So outdoor cable trench, this is how it looks. You can see we do a lot of optimization. I have designed and optimized so many switchyards, got my clients job, but without seeing one. That is the beauty of. So you have to be structurally very efficient and optimize the design of these structures. And we have the foundations in this, we have the structures, we have this cable, civil works cable trays and driveways also. So we'll be sharing all that today. So this is how the cable trench outdoor it looks like. We cover with precast slabs on this cable trench, because all these require maintenance. Earthing is different. For earth mat maintenance also, you will be able to remove it easily and do it. So this is the control room drawing. It is a civil building. I don't have to explain. All of us are civil engineers here. So we are very well aware. Only thing is in this, the important thing is supporting the panels, control panels, and below that you have the cable trench. So this is the thing. So now I am getting into the design. So here you should know how you apply the loads and transmit the loads and analyze and design these structures. You have these towers or boom, columns we call tower or column, and then this is a boom or beam, and then you have the cables, and you have the earth wire here, and the biggest force in this is short circuit force in addition to wind load. So always we have to apply the short circuit force on these structures and design for it. So this is the layout of substation. Before we start planning the layout, we take the contours and we take the approach. This is the typical layout of a land location of a substation. So what are all the elements in substation structure? We have the cable trench, we have the control room, columns, beams, transformers, gantry structures, and circuit breakers, isolator structure, isolator without earthing, and we have a lightning arrestor, we have potential transformer, current transformer, post insulator, vacuum circuit breakers, drainage and water system, fencing with gates. Oh, that's first year students are also here. Then I have to explain. But it is very interesting for first year BTech student. You have to just remember what I am explaining here. And boundary wall. So these are all the things. So substation layout. This is the substation layout drawing. You can see there are this is the gantry and tower and fencing all around. And then this is the control room. So for control room, we provide the access road and all for maintenance, you know, for even the transformer sometimes have to be taken for maintenance. And this is the incoming transmission structure, tower structure. So then this is connected, and these are the distribution base we call. This is the distribution bay. So finally, the incoming power comes like this, and distribution line goes like this. So this is the typical layout of a substation. And this is the cross section. You can see this is the incoming power, and this is the distribution power, and this is the shield wire. Why we require shield wire is to earth the lightning. You know, lightning is a huge electric charge, and these are all power equipment. So you have to protect this power equipment from lightning. You know, so that's why we provide this shield wire. And then power incoming power, and then take a transformer, step up, step down, and then take it like this, and then distribute it through this gantry. So this is how a typical structure looks. And this is another substation layout. You can see this is the future also we reserve for expansion of the substation. Not aware of what, Uday Kiran? Because I have experienced people. My colleague, as I said, he is having 30 years experience. He is attending, so I have to balance between these two. Please listen to this lecture again. If you have any doubts, you can ask me in the what you call messenger or WhatsApp groups. You know, join our WhatsApp groups or Telegram group, and keep asking questions. So this is, I have to cover a lot of things. Towards the end again, I'll take questions. If you have any specific query which you don't understand, you can ask me. So here, sorry. I missed. Yeah, here you can see, this is the earth wire. You can see the earth wire will show the earthing mats and all, and these are the distribution lines, and this is the incoming power, main power incoming to this. So this is the power substation typical details. Don't try to understand everything in one go now. This presentation is available in your Facebook box drive. You can download and then study, and if you have any specific doubts, you can ask me. So this is a shielding wire, and these are the peaks provided on the top of these booms for this. Short circuit force is when suddenly the high voltage comes, the conductor breaks, then there is a sudden pull or push on the, so there is some tension in the conductor and suddenly it breaks. So there is a imbalance in the force equilibrium, and then so we have to apply that force and design this structure. That is called short circuit force. Due to short circuit, conductor fails. And this is another substation layout. Let us go quickly. This is a single line drawing. You know, based on the single line drawing, we make the layout of the structures. And electrical people will give this. We don't have to worry, civil people, but we should understand the network drawing from this single line drawing. So now let us come to our topic, design of boom. So we have to consider the wind zone and design codes IS 800. Now it is 2000, IS 800, 2000 and 875. We have to consider 2015. This is a world report which is there. I'll modify later. And steel, what we use for mild steel or high tensile steel. And the configuration of boom will be shown in the drawing. And the boom design is done with the shear and bending actually. It is designed as a simply supported thing, and then we'll take the same WL square by 8 for uniformly distributed load of wind and self-weight, and we consider these loading conditions, combinations. Short circuit force will take as a broken condition, and normal condition with all conductors intact. So here you can see 66 by 33 kV switchyard. Analysis and design. So this is the boom. We calculate the wind load, live loads. We take the self-weight of the boom. Self-weight is the weight of the angles and weight of the cords. That is electrical code, short circuit force. calculation. There is a formula for short circuit force. I'll explain. And this is the loads considered are attached in the annexure here. I'll show you that. The spans are 7.6 meter and 90 meter, 9 meters. 9 meter for 66 kV. This span comes based on the kV, you know, electrical clearance, minimum horizontal distance between the cables actually. So here we can see the reference wind speed we take, and design wind speed by applying the gust factor we'll take, and then design wind pressure is calculated, and we calculate loads in wind X direction, wind in Z direction, both the direction. The L/R ratio limitations are 120, 200, and grade of steel is, mild steel is 2062, and yield strength is 255 kg per square centimeter. And these are the permissible stresses for materials. We also use IS 802, which is a code for transmission towers. And so we analyze the boom. We take the reactions for different conditions, wind in X direction, wind in Z direction, and weight, self-weight in Y direction, vertical loads, and then apply those reactions to the tower for design of the tower. Or we can also design it as a portal, considering the beam and tower, but beam will be transferring only the shear, but due to top chord and bottom chord, there will be movement in the tower. So we have to apply as it is. So here you can see we model this boom like this as a hinged support, and these are all the truss elements with bracings and all. So you have to model it like this and apply the loads in both X and Z direction. So these are the members model for analysis. This is a 9 meter boom, and so these are the next. So once we analyze and get the results, these reactions, whatever we get for different cases, load cases, self-weight case, live load case, and in the live load you have the tension in the conductor also, which we have to consider, and a short circuit force, wind. These are the conditions we have to consider and design this. So next is the tower or column we call, and this column will be applying the reactions from the thing, and the wind, we apply the wind on tower also. And these are the design of the columns. So wind load in X direction, wind load in Z direction, we both will take and design. So we'll have different types of beams at different levels sometimes. We'll have a 9 meter beam at 9 meter height, and 7.6 meter beam at 7.6 meter, and we apply the reactions of these both on this tower and analyze the tower. So the tower will be analyzed as a 3D. We have the software, always we use TowerCAD software for design of these towers. And bolts and nuts IS 12472. This presentation is available in box drive, you can download. And allowable bearing stress for bolts is 4440, and for high tensile bolts it is 5.6 grade, it is 6320 allowable bearing. So these are all, so this is how you can see here we have given the height, 12 meter height, 9.5 meter height, 6 meter height. We have the beams, girders. So this girder is in this plane, and there is a perpendicular direction, there is another girder. Yeah, we have to consider various loading combinations, wind in X direction, dead load, live load, dead load, wind load, dead load, live load plus wind load, and pure dead load and wind. So we have to consider all these cases, earthquake also actually. Seismic loads also we have to take here, because this is a portal. We have to analyze for seismic loads also, depending on the earthquake. And ice loads, you can see here, we consider the ice on conductor also. Because wherever it is, if it is in northeast or north, wherever the low temperatures are there, the ice load is considered based on the thickness of the ice. That is a design parameter. And weight of attachments, man with tools during maintenance, all these loads are considered. So here you can see I have shown this beam, in all three directions. This is the longitudinal, this is the transverse and vertical load. So these are the three loads, and you can see there are three conductor points on this beam. Not a space frame, it will be a space truss. It is a pin jointed space truss. It is all bolted always. We use the bolted structure only, unless we use the pipe structure. If it is a pipe structure, then we'll take it as a framed element. So these are the results of this analysis: wind on conductor, wind load on insulator. There will be insulator. So you have to understand the structure, everything. You have to see the 3D view of the picture and then calculate the loads coming on each of these things and consider the drag coefficient suitably. That is the biggest challenge, as I said in the beginning. Consideration of realistic drag coefficient. Yeah, I have shared it in this. This is the typical design you have in the presentation already uploaded in box drive. So here you can see the loads applied on the beam. This is a transformer foundation actually. So transformer structure and soil reaction. This is how we design. And this is a column drawing, typical column fabrication drawing. This is the base plate. You can see we match the CG of the angle with CG of the plate, and then we have the anchor bolts and the stiffeners here. You can see this. And then we have these bolted connections between these lacings. It's like a laced column, typical laced column. And four angles vertical. And here you can see there is a girder here, and there is a girder at this level, and a peak for lightning arrestor or shield wire. So this is the boom drawing. Here you can see these are the connecting points for the conductor 1, 2, and 3. So these are the connecting points for the conductor. And you have the weight vertical loads, tension from the conductor, and wind on conductor. So this is a double pole structure which you will see in most of these colonies for transformer, and these are like small substation kind of thing. You take the incoming power, step down, and again supply back through the distribution line. This is a 2-pole structure, 4-pole structure are common, this one. And this is a 4-pole structure, as I explained. So you will have all that insulator, circuit breakers and all just will be in 4-pole structure. Suppose you have from 33 kV to 11 kV, this 4-pole structure is enough. Substation. So these are all and this is a transformer structure. So we design these equipment structures, and then foundation for this equipment. All these base plates and all are there, and we design this transformer foundation also. And this is a current transformer, and this is a lightning arrestor. You can see we design these supporting structures of these current transformers, and so this is a steel structure. We design this steel structure for these transformers, and lightning arrestors also we design the structure supporting this. So this is a bus bar. Normally this we will have in the substations, the switch yards. You have these bus bars. So bus bars are like our water ring mains. You know, for water we take ring main. For the power we call it bus bar. The main supply will be from the bus bar, and then they will draw the power for different lines from this bus bar. This is a wave trap. This is called the wave trap. You can see on the girder, wave trap is supported. So the weight of wave trap we have to apply onto the girder for the vertical load, and wind on wave trap. So this is, though it's a cylindrical shape, we apply the wind on wave trap, and this is a potential transformer. So you have to calculate the wind on this. Imagine what will be the drag coefficient for this. So to get the realistic loads. So these are all the designs which are very important. And we see power failures during cyclones. That is just because all these things fail, because if they are not designed properly, and you lose the power. Why there is a power failure during cyclones? either it is failure of these structures, failure of this equipment, and so that's very important. We have to have the stable network. That's what I did. Hazard mitigation and emergency cyclone reconstruction project of our Andhra Pradesh. We were the consultants to prevent such failures in the distribution and all. So this is a typical insulator, glass insulators you can see, and this is porcelain insulators, and this is earth switch. You can see these structures. We do the manual checking as well as we do the on computer also, our software, TowerCAD or STAD and all that. So this is a 66 kV current transformer structure. So you can see we make this laced structure and foundation. This is the base frame which is important to connect with this structure. So you can imagine it will transfer the moments and shear at this level. Weight will not be very critical, but moment and shear due to the wind. This height of the structure is 2.1 meters only, but we'll use even 35 mm angles. In township, do the builder get the benefit of subsidy? No. Actually, for layouts, yeah, good question, Raghavendra. Actually, for the layout, the builder is supposed to provide 3% of developed area land, 3% of the land towards utilities, it is called. And substation is a utility. It is the responsibility of the builder to provide land. So he will not get any subsidy. We have to, when we are making the layout, you provide 3% for pump house, water supply, storage, and distribution, and power distribution also. It is a responsibility. So you cannot get any subsidy by giving land for substation. It is a, how do you have a layout without substation actually? So this is a foundation for a current transformer, you can see. So here we take this aggregates, and then we use this foundation design, pedestal and then base. So this is a typical foundation drawing. You can see even for a small structure, how many drawings we make, you see, this is in Bhutan we have done, and we have designed these even bar bending schedule and quantities and anchor rod details we give. So here you can see this is the anchor base plate, grouting and check nut, and this anchor plate, and this threading is given for bearing plate, providing the bearing. So here you can see there is a bearing plate. The anchorage is very important for these light structures for wind uplift, you know. And this is a foundation for what? Isolator structure. So this is a isolator structure, and again it's a concrete RCC foundation, and we have shown this base plate and all that details of anchor bolt. For each structure we give, and this is isolator structure. This is how the isolator structure looks. Either you can give 3 columns depending on the requirement, and this is the bracings laced structure, and this is lightning arrested structure, 3-meter height, and this is the foundation for lightning arrestor. So equipment structures and foundations, we make all the drawings for these substations it is required. And a potential insulator, this is the drawing for PI structure, and this is the foundation for PI structure. And potential transformer, this is the structure, and this is the foundation, PT structure. So these are all similar, but I'm trying to show what is the extent of detail we follow for these substation structures. And this is the wave trap structure. So this is the wave trap structure, and this is the foundation for wave trap. And substation boundary wall. So even this boundary wall foundation and fencing, this barbed wire fencing and all that, you can see this is a chain link fence, and see how extent of detail of this. We give the accurate drawings for this even boundary wall. So this is entrance gate of the substation structure, and this is the gantry structure for location. So this is a gantry, and these are the columns, and these are the peaks for supporting the earth wire. So, in fact, I took at least 10 to 15 years to understand all this. So please don't try to get everything in this session. Keep listening to this lecture, study the PowerPoint, you will understand and visit one of the substations and see all these structures with the one printout of this drawing. Then you will understand what it is. Just by seeing the presentation, you will not understand in 1 hour. So this is the transformer foundation. So here you can see this is for maintenance of the transformer. We give the movement of the transformer because and these are the road details. So we give the details of the road. See, every project, civil engineers deal with structure, road, compound wall, building, cable trenches, and all that. It's very interesting, and ground level and earthing mat. So this is a 9-meter beam drawing, and this is 7.6 meter beam drawing, and this is the 2 into 10 mega transformer foundation, tower foundation. This is the tower foundation, and 6-meter tower foundation, 9.5 meter tower, 6-meter tower drawing, and 12-meter tower drawing, and 9.5 meter tower drawing. And this is a tangent pole, incoming power for this. We designed these poles also. I said 132 kV double circuit pole and 220 kV single circuit tangent pole. All this we have designed. And 132 kV single circuit tangent pole and 132 kV double circuit suspension. So you can see these are the insulated cross arms. So we have developed the standard details for these poles. These are all spun concrete, pre-stressed spun concrete poles. And you can see the diameter of the pole is 640 mm. And the height of the pole is 17 meters for the single circuit staggered. This is this we have designed almost like 15 years back, more than 15 years. So these are the poles and cross arms. You see insulated cross arms. And this is single circuit tower, and this is a double circuit tower. And this is the earthing system. Somebody was asking, what is the earthing system? So we have this earthing system here. Yeah. So you can see that grid. I'm not able to get the cursor. Oh. The substation foundation was not more than M25 grade. Is there any recent upgradation? Yeah, it is M25 grade is enough concrete for foundations. And this is the control panel. This is how it looks, and this is the earthing mat. So you can see from the shield wire. Why I don't get the cursor? Yeah. This on the white background cursor is not seen. I don't know. And this is the earthing resistor and control room. Typical control room layout. This is how it is. And wave trap. These are the wave traps. Very interesting. You can see the electrical wave traps. High frequency communication signals sent to the line. And this is the earth switch. So earthing switch actually. And these are the substations. So we see these substations in all the residential layouts, residential complexes also. So there we designed the compact substations. And this is a 132 kV switch yard, and this is a 33 kV yard for, so this is how it looks different. And this is the substation and switching stations, transformers. And this is a huge control room in the substation. And here you can see the grounding grid, earth grid, you know, the earth mat. So it's a huge power charge will be there. So it's very important to earth uh, the lightning charge and even this electrical charge. So this is about substations and switchyards. If you have any questions now, I'll take. As per the previous experience, yeah, almost I answered the questions as I moved. The tower is analyzed as pin-jointed space frame. No, it is a pin-jointed space truss. Tower as well as beam are analyzed as pin-jointed space truss. The loading combinations are, as I explained, dead load, live load, dead load, wind load, dead load, live load, wind load, and dead load, earthquake. And the short circuit force is another wind load, and even as part of live load, we take short circuit. And all these substations we design for three conditions: reliability, security, and safety. The reliability condition is a normal condition, and security condition is like short circuit force or broken condition, broken wire, and safety condition is during construction. The safety condition, that is erection loads and all we consider. No, we use only CBIP for this. So I think I am sure you are aware of transmission. So we can use CBIP, but there is no special code for substation. Panel room, yeah, it should be vinyl flooring, actually, preferably vinyl flooring where there is no static charge, in the flooring. That is why you can see the flooring here, or you can use this what you call epoxy flooring also, self-leveling epoxy flooring, because it has to be clean. So the basic requirement is there should not be, because we deal with all the electric cables and all, there should not be electric charge. So are there any more questions? Otherwise I'll conclude. Plain terrain, how are the substations? That's a good question, Vishu. Hilly area, we have to make it level. Benching is, we have to identify the site which will be level. Otherwise, it's very difficult. You can do it still, but it is very difficult. Good question, Vishu. Can we use the earth mat for commercial electrical earthing system? Yeah, we do. We do in buildings also. Wherever you can't have earth pits, normal soil, we use it. The good questions. Only of 12-meter length trailers, and how come 17? Yeah, Naveen, we use only 10-meter segment. 17-meter pole, we use 10 meters and have a joint. Maximum 10 meters only, spun concrete pole. Aggregate is used to avoid marshy land. Yeah, that is also correct. How we can isolate the DG foundation with floor? Yeah, we make a trench and fill it with sand. Clearance required for the panels. The distance, yeah, that is the working distance only we maintain for the panels. How relevant should we be thorough with the electrical designs, and will we execution of electrical elements goes simultaneously with steel erection or construction? Yeah, we need not be very conversant with the electrical. Electrical people will give the electrical drawing. We should only know how to transfer the load from the electrical installations to the ground. How to learn complete design. Yeah, that you have to do the design. You have to work, then only you will learn. There is no point in learning without working, that is tough actually. Bolt is rigid joint only, but why during analysis we take pin joint? Nitin Rao. Yeah, it's a big question. In fact, the question of hinge or rigid doesn't come from the material actually. It is from the structural element. If you have a long even pipe, the behavior of it at the joint will be like hinge only. So it is better you make hinge only. The clearance from the floor, you can see this is there is no clearance as such. Subramaniam, the panel is resting on the ground only. There is no clearance as such required. It's only for any basic clearance for maintenance what is required that we maintain. Minimum height requirement for panel room. It is again from the electrical people, but normally we take 4.5 meters panel height. Design of the panel, then you can see here in this photograph, the height clearance between beam and the panel is only 600 mm. Anti-static vinyl floor, where all the joints are welded, UK does this job. Air conditioning is required, yeah, because there will be heat generated in the panel room. You require to maintain the temperature, you require air conditioning. And anti-static vinyl flooring, where all joints are welded. Marley, yeah, that is probably you are giving information, Hiremat. And why a chain link boundary is only provided, why not a compound wall? Good question. Actually, it is a cost actually. Chain link fencing is cheaper than compound wall. Almost nowadays compound wall costs 5,000 rupees per running meter. If it is precast wall, it is 2,000 to 3,000 rupees per running meter. And if it is chain link fencing, it will cost 1,500 rupees per running meter. It is only cost. What about the drainage system? Yeah, it's a good question. Sorry, I missed it. There will be drains, stormwater drains in the substation. We collect the water and stormwater drainage is there. In fact, I mentioned in the list, but I didn't cover in the design. Seismic load, yeah, it is considered here because it is a portal structures, rigid structure. What is the responsibility of a civil engineer in the operation and maintenance of substation and switching station? Yeah, O&M, any utility, any constructed facility requires operation and maintenance, like water supply is required, drainage is required, and cleanliness is required, and you need to verify the structures and all. So it is less, but yes, it will be required, operation and maintenance, not very high. You can probably have one maintenance engineer for 10 substations. Need not be every substation one maintenance engineer. What about the drainage? And so I hope Vishwa, I answered. Chain link fencing is used because of the cost consideration. Anti-static vinyl flooring, panel room, site clearance from the floor. Firefighting norms for panel room. Yeah, we have to have firefighting. Good questions I'm getting today. In fact, in the panel room, you require not sprinkler. Sprinkler is not required, but only extinguishers. We'll provide extinguishers only. Because there are not many flammable materials. How will the retorification done when the power supply should be switched on? Retorification, I am not getting it. Depth of earthing required, it depends on the soil type. Definitely you should not do it in the water table level. So normally what we see is about 1 meter 750 mm depth is the depth of earthing. Earth mat and earth pits. Any other questions? I'll conclude now. So thank you very much. Have a good day. Tomorrow is very important topic. I'll be covering the mm, uh, scales of accommodation and design basis and design briefs. Yes, so many substation failures are there actually. I cannot name exactly, but we have done the inspection of substation failures. I have inspected myself. Oh, very good observation. Yeah, Seshagiri. Very good observation. Do you think this is the fire sprinkler? Yeah, this fire sprinkler or fire detection. I will check. Actually, it is not required. Sprinkler is not required according to me, but still I'll check. Thank you, Giri. You have a very good eye. What is very dangerous? Yeah. Thank you very much, all of you. And we'll meet tomorrow with the design brief, scales of accommodation, which is very important for any project. That is, in fact, day before yesterday, I had a meeting with a client on design brief and scales. So tomorrow we'll share it, and I'll conclude this for today. Close, live.